Old Soul Young World.
What up, y'all? This is Jessie Ellie from Old Soul Young World. I'm here at the Graffiti DC Dark Verse Light Jam with the one and only Sobek. What's poppin'?
What's going on?
How
Pleasure.
are you?
Pleasure to meet everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's a beautiful day. Good weather, good paint weather. So
For sure, for sure. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. And I know I already said, like, you know, you're from Boston, but can you let us know specifically, you know, where you started picking up a can and you know, where you're at with that now?
okay. So I started in Dorchester, born and raised, but Mattapan Square is pretty much where I learned everything hip hop, I guess I'll say. So graffiti was one of those things, and yeah, I've been kind of tagging since '97.
Okay.
But 98 was like the first piece that I've ever, like the first letters I ever painted on the wall.
And where was that, your first piece?
So it is still on Blue Hill Avenue.
What?
And it's like, so I snuck under my mama's porch to paint it like
Go!
under the porch. It's a black and gold piece. So
Okay, so it's still on that house where you lived back in the day?
possibly,
Okay.
maybe, I'm sure the weather
People have to go
is-
find it?
Like you gotta squeeze through the wooden bars, and I'm no longer that size, so that's not happening. So
I feel that. And what kind of style do you do then or currently if you've switched over in the last couple decades?
style-wise, I've always been like a weird, abstract kind of letter structure kind of person. So like not the traditional, you know, New York Bronx like foundation. I really loved three-dimensional graffiti and just all the different ways it kind of moved. So that's pretty much right now, that's pretty much like my style. I do a pretty much 3D bevel type style flow. Just cause it's my favorite. I still like love what we call like straight dead letters or like cursive typography. Like I still love doing all those things, but like when I'm like in my zone or in my bag, like I'm just gonna do some sloppy 3D wild style.
I love that.
Just take off.
Yeah, mix it up, do something different every time. That's very cool. And today with our DC Dark Verse Light, what piece did you choose to do today? We are gonna get some videos of it, but what did you do and why did you choose that piece?
So I'm doing Killer Croc.
Let's go.
Dark Side.
Love that.
Suicide Squad, the newest versions of the Suicide Squad.
Okay.
Like that version of Killer Croc is what I'm doing. Specifically because Sobek is the Egyptian crocodile god. So I ride on the crocodile theme like hard. So it only makes sense to like, you know, do Killer Croc today.
Okay, that's fine. I was actually going to ask you what Sobek means, but that goes right in line. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I know when we first started talking, you kind of mentioned hip hop. And I feel that music is very heavily incorporated into being an artist. And it's something that can really inspire how you create the vibes that you create or just how you feel as a person. Are there any certain hip hop artists or type of music that inspired you as you started to get into spraying or current day?
Well, growing up, so when I started spraying, I was like 6th, 7th grade maybe. But at that time, it was like hip hop. If you're from a certain part of the city, like it's hip hop. You're listening to hip hop. But I was like, I'm a Metco kid. So like I went to school out in Reading, Mass for like a chunk of elementary, all the way up to 5th grade, I believe. And that's when I got pulled out. But in Metco, like it was a variety of music I was listening to, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, everyone wants Biggie, Tupac at the time. This is like 95, 96. So they, you know, West Coast versus East Coast, that was like what was happening. But like when I'm in my Zen bag, it's like, it was like soft rock, you know what I'm saying? A little punk rock in there. So yeah, I'm like a mixed bag of tricks. I love all kind of music. What I'm playing right now is absolutely out of the norm. but it's my jam right now, and it's keeping me comfortable and peace of mind. So that's kind of what I ride on. Is like, if I hear something new and I'm like, oh, this is a vibe. I'm gonna try to ride that for as long as possible until another sound comes and changes my mood. So that's pretty much how I roll. Yeah.
And obviously things have changed over time with graffiti, with the culture, with social media, and things just being spread more on different platforms. How has it been for you, being in the game and in this over the last couple decades, and seeing it go from, being criminalized to now we have legal walls, like here at Graff City, we're doing, a legal wall jam. And in Cambridge, there's a legal wall and you're able to travel and go to these different jams. Like, how did that feel to you seeing the transition in the culture?
I mean, now that I'm like older and more mature, like I understand the importance of these type of walls, especially for like the next generation. I mean, there's always still like the foundation and like kind of the religion of graffiti, get out there, vandalize, illegal bombing, this and that and whatnot. But I have to remind people, well, certain folks in the culture that like, I'm kind of twice your age now. You were in diapers when I was doing all that stuff. So like, I'm gonna chill out and do what I want.
For sure.
But once you like, for me, it's a habit, just like art, period. I don't just like, I'm a muralist, but I'm also an illustrator, and I've been like sculpting lately. So these hands need to be tinkering like at all times in order for me to kind of feel sane. But specifically like graffiti wise, it's like, once you get that itch, like it never leaves, so it's never left me. So like still, and my son, he's about to be 15 years old this year, and there's still times where I'm walking and he's grabbing my shoulder like, no, like stop, stop, you're not riding on that. So it's like it's there.
Yeah,
and if
it's
like
ingrained in you.
Yeah, and for someone who's like a rider, such as myself, like simply because like I still eat, breathe, and sleep it. It's just certain years I'm focused more. Like I have a mouth to feed, so obviously whenever I get a chance to do this and get paid, that's going to take the focus.
Yeah.
But like there are always those times where I'm just walking around the neighborhood at night and it's just like, something's getting hit up tonight.
For sure,
yeah, for
for
sure.
sure.
So like I can't run from that feeling personally. I can't speak for everyone else, but like I'm not as active on the illegal vandal side, but I'm definitely 3 times as active on like the promotion of the culture, like showing up at jams, rocking as many murals as I can that is incorporating like actually incorporating graffiti. Like I do that as much as possible, just as much as like my younger days when I was out there vandalizing things.
Yeah,
so
I feel that.
yeah.
And I feel within art, I don't do graffiti, but I've been a painter, and being a painter has helped me flow into other type of art forms, spoken word, podcasting, poetry, whatever it may be, writing. And I really do feel like these are outlets, and that we use, when you find that form of passion and purpose within yourself, you can use that as something you can go to when you're like having tough days, or, mentally or emotionally, or when things get hard physically in life. Do you feel that within your art, that it has been a form of release for you to be able to go to when you have those down times?
Yeah, like this probably my number one release. And sometimes I have to kind of pull myself back from it to be like, you're still a father. Like, there's still other things in the world that I still need to focus on and take care of. So I can't like stay in my little art bubble as much as I would like love to, and as much as like I naturally do. But for me, this is the first thing I go to, no matter where I'm at, no matter what I'm doing. It's like, this is my icebreaker, you know what I'm saying? So if I'm at a party and I'm posted on a wall, and if I hear someone talking art, I'm leaning towards there, because like that's a conversation I could ease into, you know what I'm saying? So art is definitely my release. I'm very much passionate about it, which is why like me and the graffiti culture is such a love-hate, because I'm like, even when I started, I hated being rushed. I hated the fact that like I gotta rush this ugliness that's gonna be seen by everyone the next morning. So it's always been like a cringe relationship with me and the culture.
Get that.
So that's why it's like being a muralist is important for me, because like I need to take the time sometimes, and that allows me time to take. So when I'm done with, after this wall that I've been working on for a month is done, then it's like, I need to go make a mess. Like, just give me like 3 hours. I need to go make a mess somewhere. So I get to satisfy kind of both of those needs. But I'm in a unique position where like being a muralist is my full time. So it's like I live and breathe art. That's what is paying the bills. So I have more of an opportunity to focus on like just showing up at jams randomly, because like it's a lifestyle for me. So
Yeah, and like you just said, it's a lifestyle and it's an investment. And when you invest something that deeply, you really can take a passion and turn it into a career. And you're a perfect example of that. And you know, through Old Soul Young World, I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and you really have turned from artist to entrepreneur, you know, because then you have to balance the business side and the life side and the artistic creative side. And it's a lot, but it's worth it at the end of the day.
as an artist, a professional artist, no one prepares you for like that art journey. As far as like the feds, you're not recognized as like an employer, an employee, or a business or whatnot. I have to register as like a contracted painter. And like that's what I do to prime the wall. But like the word muralist is just starting to be more recognized. 2019 is when I dropped everything to be full-time muralist. So my first time filing for taxes as a muralist was a headache, because like I wasn't recognized. My first time trying to like find insurance for myself, because it's needed for certain commissions, it was a headache, because there's nothing for artists. It's like, well, there's contractors who paint, so this is what you're labeled under.
Yeah. And you really have to figure it out yourself. And a lot of that comes with, you know, frustration and failing. And you know, a big topic that's come with a lot of the artists today is failing to succeed. Or if you're not failing, you're not really being an artist. How do you kind of feel about that statement within your own journey of having to fail to figure shit out?
I think it's just life, period. Like I tell my son this, because he's just naturally really good at certain things. And he just does it once, and I see all the ego showing in his smile, like I'm the man. And then just
like you got that from me. Hold up.
Stuff. But then it's like, you know, that's this particular thing. That's not everything. There's like millions of roads that you're gonna walk in just your life, period.
For sure.
So it's like, yeah, you're good at this, but something's gonna come along that's just gonna like make you want to rip your hair out and yell and scream. So it's like, how do you kind of navigate and control yourself through all of that? So it's like, I don't know. The best way I can, or the best way I try to describe it to people is like, don't look at me, look at what I just did. And you kind of judge for yourself.
Yes.
There's a saying we have where it's like the devil's in the details. So it's like you see like an intricate piece of work, or if I see an intricate piece of work, I'm like, man, that artist is patient. That artist is like so focused. Like I wonder, like there's just a certain level of discipline that comes with that. And just to attain that certain level of discipline, it's like you got to take a personal journey, like for real, because it's like it's not easy. So there has been nights where I'm like, yeah, I think I'm just, before I became full-time mural, I was a chef. So I'm like, I think I'm just gonna focus on chopping onions and just like progress on that chef ladder.
I'm glad you kept going.
You know, so it's like there's plenty of those days still, and there's highs and lows. Like being a full-time anything or stepping out to do your own anything is always hard. It's always tons of work, but it builds character, and it's definitely not for everyone. So if it's not for you, it's not like, don't beat yourself up.
Right.
Just find out what is for you and like be happy in that lane and just maintain your own happiness there. And that's pretty much it.
100%. And I feel like, you know, there's like two roads given in life. Like usually you're given two paths, but sometimes you don't take either of those. You need to make your own down the middle. You need to create your own lane, because sometimes with your talents or where you're at, it just doesn't fall into what's already been done. And you have to make it yours and be authentic and be yourself. And, you know, that's a lot what you represent. And I just want to end off for anybody listening in, any, you know, young heads coming up in the game who are, you know, trying to tap in and get involved, or, you know, maybe look up to your work right now. Do you have any advice for them getting in right now, not back in the 90s and, you know, 2024, for how they can be tapped into being the best artist possible, whether it's on a wall, on paper, or anywhere in between?
Just being the best artist, period, in any art category, from dancing, poetry, drawing. It's just consistent practice. Like, actually close your door and just be by yourself and practice with yourself. Like, before, the men who mentored me in graffiti, they wouldn't let me touch a spray can until like I had black books or sketchbooks that were like filled up and they can see how serious I was taking
You had to
it.
prove yourself.
Yeah, so it was like, all right, you can scribble over there, but you can't rock a piece yet. So I'm like, a whole nother year before I was allowed to rock a piece. And it's not like, well, why didn't you just go do your thing? Because it's like, these are the people who have that knowledge. Like, I want what they have. I'm gonna pay attention and do what they're asking me to do. Cause like, so it's like, take your time, practice, practice, practice. And in the world of snap of your fingers and everything's done, everything's given to you, don't get stuck in like the comfortable route. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many tools to the trade now that speeds things up. Like when it comes to graffiti, like you have so many low pressure spray can brands. But I tell everyone who's like, who wants to rock with me, like go to the hardwood store, get some Rust-Oleums. Don't change the tips.
Okay.
Go practice.
Okay.
Like practice. Because until you learn how to like work with that like dusty wooden sword, until you learn how to swing the angles and stuff, I'm not giving you a blade to just run around and, you know what I'm saying? Just swinging and chopping everything up. Right. Like you got to kind of hone the skills. And like be serious about honing the skills for yourself, period, not for like social media or showing off sake. Right. Because like the more people see how disciplined you are, the more they're just going to want to be in your atmosphere. Definitely. Because they're going to see something in them that's like, I could kind of sharpen this up. Mm-hmm. Let me go learn something. Anyone who's like not totally arrogant and like full of themselves is gonna like come out here and talk to every artist that's gonna turn around as soon as you say hi. For sure. Like it's just common sense, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the younger generation needs to know that, like, don't grab a spray can first, grab a pencil and your sketchbook. And as much as you're burning to just tag something, like at least work on a proper like script hand, you know what I'm saying? Like your tag, like at least get a proper beautiful tag. Yes. So that way your introduction to the game is like, whoa, who is this? Sure. Who is this person with can control already? You know what I'm saying? Right. So it sounds simple. It's repetitive no matter what road in life you're walking. Like I learned the same lesson applied with me in fatherhood, like be patient, like, and just you're gonna mess up. You're gonna keep dripping the paint until finally one day it's like,
Oh,
you
that's
know,
how you do
and it
that.
just clicks.
Yeah.
It's not something you're gonna notice.
Right.
It's just, everything will just click, but it only clicks after the 1000th time you've been doing it.
100%. And failure is only learning. So each time you know, something drips wrong or it doesn't look right, that's an opportunity for you to grow in your artistry and become a better, you know, whatever you want to be in life. So is there anywhere that people can find you on social media, if you're on there, that they can check out your work or anything coming up that you got going on?
For sure. The first place is the website, and that's just www.supersobek.com.
Okay.
From there, there's little icons at top where you can
Gotcha.
just click on them. It'll take you to like my IG. It'll take you to my Back Against the Wall initiative, which is just a live. What happens here, I do that in Dorchester, pretty much.
Oh, really?
But I have one wall that change it every year.
Wow.
Mother's Day weekend. So that event just passed. But website first, and then Instagram is the place I'm most active at.
Okay.
So that's _Sobek_ with the number 6.
Word.
And that's the best way to keep up with me.
Awesome. All right, I appreciate you so much, Sobek. As you guys know, you know, like we just said, being a full-time artist takes consistency. It takes a lifelong growth and a journey of believing in yourself and being authentic. Don't try to be nobody else around you. Just be you. And then one day maybe you can be like Sobek over here.
Just
you
saying,
know?
I don't look that bad. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you so much, Sobek.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all stay tuned so you can see his final piece and check him out on all platforms. Peace.
Peace.
Old soul, young